Well, you can add Raiders All-Pro defensive end Maxx Crosby to the countless list of professional athletes who think LeBron James is a cowardly ring-chasing mercenary. I know, crazy, right? It isn't just 9 out of every 10 NBA players who pick Kobe and Jordan over the fraud king. Even athletes in other sports know what the scoreboard reads. The stud defensive end was a guest on the Jim Rome show recently when the topic came up of Crosby's contract extension with Las Vegas. And Rome asked the All-Pro if he had ever considered the possibility of leaving the Raiders for greener pastures. But that's when Crosby went on to explain that taking the easy way out was never a consideration, and LeBron caught a hilarious stray.
The guys who inspired me are the Kobes and the Jordans, the guys that stayed at the same place and won in the same place. So no offense to the guys like LeBron and those dudes that, you know, took the easier road travel, and that's really not the way I look at it. I feel like for me, going through it and going through the ups and downs and the hardships is going to make it even that much, you know, sweeter when I do win a Super Bowl. So.
And of course, let this serve as yet another of the countless reminders that there are indeed levels to this. In a tale as old as time, literally, this isn't merely about something that is applicable to sports. This is the concept of the hero's journey. And in that quest, you are only as good as the challenges you face and the obstacles you overcome. The villains, the foes you vanquish. By sidestepping all of these challenges and making that quest as easy as possible, you fundamentally cheat not just yourself, but by extension, as it applies to professional athletics, the sport itself. Now, LeBron wasn't the first to apply this tactic of sheer cowardice, as ring chasing is nothing new in sports, particularly the NBA. But you will be hard-pressed to locate a player who gave up so quickly and at such a young age and stage of their career as LeBron, and abandoned the noble pursuit of a title. And it wasn't just one destination. This ring-hunting coward mercenary has been changing locales every 4 to 5 years since he was 26 years old. And James is seldom ever satisfied with the immense amount of talent he stacks around him in those various cities, instead opting to whine, cry, and beg for more help year in and year out. And this is why the prolific winners who stayed in one NBA location for their entire careers should be viewed at a different and higher level than the ring chasers. If you want to celebrate LeBron's individual statistical accomplishments, if that is your be-all and end-all, so be it. But rarely, in the course of any sport, do we celebrate stats over winning. The winners have and should be viewed in a different light, held to a higher level, in a different tier of the conversation. Because they didn't run. They didn't take the easy way out. Crosby specifically mentions Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant. Jordan, who entered the NBA in an absolutely stacked Eastern Conference, one that contained the dynastic, legendary Boston Celtics, who typically deployed anywhere from 4 to 5 Hall of Famers in any given season during the 80s, the bad boy Detroit Pistons, the Charles Barkley, Moses Malone, and Dr. J 76ers, and the Dominique Wilkins Atlanta Hawks. Jordan, meanwhile, was surrounded by literal trash, as it wasn't until his 6th NBA season when he played with his first All-Star teammate. Kobe, meanwhile, substantially luckier than Mike in the supporting cast department when he came into the league. But when Kobe was just 26 years old and in the peak of his prime, Shaq was traded to Miami, and the Lakers ultimately ended up taking a package back in return that would end up constituting one of the most laughable and embarrassing trades in NBA history. The Heat sent back Caron Butler, Lamar Odom, and Brian Grant.
It's a complete crap.
And aside from Bryant, the core players on that roster, those to log at least 15 minutes per game for LA, included Lamar Odom, Smush Parker, Kwame Brown, Chris Mim, Devin George, Luke Walton, Brian Cook, and Sasha Vujacic. These top 8 rotational players aside from Bryant combined to make exactly 0 total All-Star appearances and All-NBA selections ever for their entire careers. Meanwhile, that Western Conference at the time historically stacked, with the Steve Nash, Amari Stoudemire, and Sean Marion Suns, the dynastic San Antonio Spurs team with 3 Hall of Famers, the typical 60-some win Dallas Mavericks led by Dirk Nowitzki, and other tough teams like the Yao Ming and Tracy McGrady Rockets, and the Carmelo Anthony and Allen Iverson Nuggets. Kobe, though, would stay put and get, at the time, a one-time All-Star and absolutely run that conference for 3 years with not a single other top 75 all-time player. These titles hit harder, they mean more, and don't tell me it's not the same league today, or today's greats can't be held to those same standards. The 3 best players on the planet today, Nikola Jokic, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and Luka Doncic, all 3 of them have been surrounded by subpar talent for the vast majority of their careers, yet none of them have run, and all of them, at the end of the day, depending on if they stay put and if they deliver multiple titles, should also be held above those ring-chasing cowards that slithered around the post-2010 NBA. Because no matter how some might like to try to change the standards or move the goalposts, winners will always be held above losers, and the difficulty of the journey our heroes take should always be factored in.